Hello, and welcome to the Nashville Corner, featuring the Music City Quartet, the Positive Cowboy, Jim Sheldon, Comedy on the Corner with Sue Duffield, and the all-star award-winning Nashville Corner Band led by Mark Vane. It's music, fun, and laughter with your favorite bluegrass, country, and gospel stars. And now, the voice of Heaven's Country Radio, your host, Marty Smith.
Hi there and welcome. Happy birthday, America, here from all of us here at the Nashville Corner. So we've got a great show in store for you. David and Allan Frizzell are in the house. We've got the Positive Cowboy, Jim Sheldon, Barry Lee White, Mike Leichner, Justin Terry. The Music City Quartet is in the house as well. And Comedy on the Corner with Sue Duffield. It's going to be a great hour. Stay with us. Happy birthday, America. Get ready for a great hour here on the Nashville Corner. A couple of years ago, one of the greatest men I've ever known passed away, and it was a huge loss. But after his death, we found out, we knew he'd served in the Korean War and the Vietnam War. He served this country, and he served it well. When he passed away, my brother called me and said, "Marty, you will not believe how many medals Dad had." And he never talked about it. He served his country and loved his country. My brother served in Afghanistan. He has medals. He never talks about it. To the men and women that have died, we thank you. To the men and women that serve, we thank you. We're American proud, and what a privilege it is to live in America. Here's Mike Leichner with American Proud.
The place was San Diego in 1971. He stood on the yellow footprints to become a Marine Corps son. He was only 17, willing to give his life for that old flag and freedom, the American way of life. American made, American proud, we still stand and never bow. As the flag is raised, we sing it loud. Star-Spangled Banner, 'cause we're American proud. Daddy fought in Vietnam, sister in Afghanistan. That whole family made us stand to keep our country free. God knows just what it costs to see this country stand in liberty. God help me teach my children the honor they taught me. American made, American proud, we still stand and never bow. As the flag is raised, we sing it loud. Star-Spangled Banner, 'cause we're American proud. There's a place I will kneel at the foot of Calvary's hill. Before our flag and freedom we must stand. American made, American proud, we still stand and never bow. As the flag is raised, we sing it loud. Star-Spangled Banner, 'cause we're American proud. God knows just what it costs to see this country stand in liberty. God help me teach my children the honor they taught me. American made, American proud.
Hey man, let's meet up. Yeah, same place.
Okay, I'll pick them up.
All right, see you there. All right, see you soon.
God and country still a good combination. Let the Lord have control of the nation. Take a hold of His own revelation. God and country still a good combination. God and country still a good combination. We the people need to find the place where truth still marches on in faith. Only then can we really sing glory, hallelujah, let His freedom ring. God and country still a good combination. Let the Lord have control of the nation. Take a hold of His own revelation. God and country still a good combination. God and country still a good combination. Separation of the church and state has gone too far, but it's not too late. God can still bless America, only if we turn around to offer some love. God and country still a good combination. Let the Lord have control of the nation. Take a hold of His own revelation. God and country still a good combination. God and country still a good combination. God and country still a good combination. Let the Lord have control of the nation. Take a hold of His own revelation. God and country still a good combination. God and country still a good combination. God and country, God and country, God and country still a good combination. Still a good combination. God and country, God and country still a good combination. God and country combination.
I love you, I prove it in days to come. I swear it's true, darling, you're the only one. I've been so blue and lonesome all these days. I love you, I prove it 1,000 ways. Well, I'll be nice and sweet to you, and no more you be blue. Prove I love you every day, all kinds of ways. So darling, please wait until I'm free. There'll be a change, a great change made in me. I'll be true, there'll never be blue days. Well, I love you, and I'll prove it 1,000 ways.
I lose my blues, honey, when I'm with you. No one will ever do. You're in my heart to stay. But when I'm gone and I'm all alone, I'll be singing this song. I wanna be with you always. I hope you feel the same. You really want my name. Well, you'll be the one who's to blame if it works out wrong that day. 'Cause my love is true. My love is only for you, and I'll never be blue if I can be with you always.
Hi there, thanks for tuning in. And I've got Allan Frizzell, David Frizzell. You just had a tribute to the late Lefty Frizzell. What a great tribute. It is beautiful. His music was incredible.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, that's all I remember hearing when I was a baby was was Lefty singing. And but yeah, thanks for having us today. We appreciate it, Brother Allan.
Yeah, good to be here.
It was great. Thank you for being here. Now you wrote a biography, correct?
I did. I wrote it back. I started in about 1981. I came to town in Nashville when the Oklahoma song, "You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma," went #1. I came to town.
Okay.
At that time, and when I got to town, I realized that my brother Lefty was not in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. So I had a #1 record, so people listened to me, right? Yeah. That's the way to come to Nashville.
There you go,
right.
clout.
But yeah, so I mentioned that Lefty was not in the Hall of Fame. So it took us a year of just talking about it and trying to get everybody together. It took us a year for him to be in 1982, he went in the Hall of Fame. But I was listening to different people. Every time I'd run into somebody, say, "Oh, I knew your brother, boy, we did whatever," or we sang or whatever. And I started thinking, well, some of these stories don't kind of jive up a little bit and everything. I remember telling my wife Joanne that I said, I'm just not real happy with what I'm hearing about Lefty this did, Lefty did that. I said I want to hear everything from Lefty's point of view. Yeah. If Lefty met you, I want to hear what he thought of it. And so she says, "Why don't you, if you don't like what you're hearing, why don't you just write it yourself?" So I thought, well, I can do it, And then, of course, like I said that, I had to do it. Right? So I actually started writing his bio like about 1981 or 2, 3, something like that.
18 something.
18 something. And it took me just about as long to write it as it took him to live it.
Yeah.
So, but I started then, and I finished it, and actually published it in 2011. So it's been out now a little while.
So I was reading a little bit up on this, and his influence on country music stars and singers: George Jones, Willie Nelson, Keith Whitley, Merle Haggard. Yeah. And in the biography, the foreword, Merle had written that his impact on country music is not even measurable. That's right. Mm-hmm. And he knew how to handle a song.
Yeah. He did.
I remember listening to Merle tell me one time, he says, when I'm in the studio and I'm singing and all of a sudden I just don't really know what to do with this line. He said, I just stop a minute and think, what would Lefty do here? Mm-hmm. He says, and then I'd go right on with it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But all of us are that way.
Yeah. Well, Lefty, he influenced so many. Yeah. And I'm the youngest, and so he was. Well, actually, David was a big influence too. But Lefty, probably vocally, Lefty was a big influence on me, as he was to so many. Yeah. But he just had a way with those songs, you know, and every once in a while we'll get together and we may work together, something to do with Lefty or something like that, and I don't see the songs or hear the songs and everything till we do, but I can't remember mine, but I always remember Lefty's.
That's true.
Isn't that something?
That's exactly the way it is.
Yes, that's the weirdest thing.
Oh, you know how many times I've started and stopped Oklahoma before? No, I did that today on one of Lefty's off. I'm sorry, but
I'll fix it.
I can fix it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I tell you, anytime you can listen to Lefty all you want to, you know, every time you get a chance to and everything, but you never hear him say it the same way twice.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I have to admit that I'm the same way. I never sing the same song twice, anyway, the same way. So it makes it a little tougher for whoever's singing with me.
Yeah.
But I lucked out and Shelley West sang with me all those years.
Good
and it was something about her.
Staying with you.
She just stayed with you, I don't care where you went. You know?
Just knew it. So what is the name of the book, the title
I
of
Love
it?
You 1,000 Ways is the name of that's one of Lefty's, that's Lefty's second big record that he wrote.
Okay.
Back in 1950, came out in 1950.
Yeah.
And but I wrote from the time he was born all the way through his life until he had to leave us. So that's what the book's about.
Okay.
Everything, and it's all from Lefty's point of view.
Oh, wow.
And so I wrote it like that. And I tell you, the hardest thing that I've ever done, with all the stuff that I've been around, but the hardest thing I can remember doing was after writing the book. I wanted, what else can I do? Is there something else can I do with that? So I wanted to do an audio book.
Okay.
So I read the book, and Steve, our engineer here, he was there with me when I did it. Thank God for him. But it took me the longest time to do that because you had to, when you read it, you had to show the right of emotions as you're going through his life. And I admit that the last 2 chapters was a little rough. And that's when we lost him, and then all of us, we was in different places. I think you were in California.
Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah.
What was funny, just to end that a little bit, is that when we came, my nephew was with me, and we flew in from Phoenix and we got to the airport, and then I see David coming, and he says, "Oh, I'm glad somebody's here to pick me up." And I said, "Well, actually, we just got here too. We were going to have to figure out who's going to pick us up." So he had come from Washington State,
I was up around Seattle.
and we came from Arizona, and it was just it was a tough thing. And another thing that was so tough for us is that Mom and Dad and a few other brother and sister, 2 sisters, they were driving from California.
Oh.
And we couldn't get in touch with them back then. Nobody had cell phones. And what I hated and dreaded was that they were going to hear it on the radio, that he had passed. Because when they left, he was in the hospital, but he hadn't passed yet. And so that really...
What it was is every time they stopped for gas, my sister Betty would go call the nurse.
Okay.
And find out what was going on at that time.
Right.
Well, one of the last times she called us, he was gone.
They were in Oklahoma City, and she called, and they told her that he had passed.
So it was rough, everybody just getting back, trying to get there.
Yeah.
And I had to, when I was reading it, I had to read about all that.
And relive it.
And relive it.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I had tears going every which way. And
so
I didn't want my voice to sound teary, you know, and crying on the audio part. So it took me a little while to do that.
I bet it did.
Thanks for Steve, because he was a big help to me on that.
I understand there's a documentary that is
Well,
in
we
the
should
works.
talk about it. I tell you what, after I did the book and I did the audio part, then I thought, okay, what else can I do? So we started doing shows. We're doing
tribute shows.
Tribute to Lefty shows. We did them up in Oklahoma. We did them in Texas. Of course, County, Texas, where Lefty was born, and just everywhere. And then I thought, what else can I do? So I started writing screenplays. So I think I wrote 4 or 5 of those screenplays. And I've been trying to get somebody from different parts of, that's in that business already, knows how to make movies, knows how to make documentaries. So this, a little while back, I found somebody out of California. He found me, actually. And so he was here all last week and got a chance to, my brother Allan, meet with him. And a lot of people that's in our corner, talking with him and giving him information on who Lefty was. And now we're actually calling different people out around the world that we knew Lefty, or maybe could could maybe have a story about him that they might want to tell. I talked to Dallas Frazier a while ago, one of the great songwriters that there is. And so we're just trying to get anybody's that wants to have a story about him, or maybe they'd have something, or just whatever that they might want to. They can contact us through davidfrizzell.com.
Well, speaking of stories, can you guys give me your greatest memory of Lefty? And I'm sure you both have different stories. They may come together.
Sure. I can think of one when, back when I was probably in my early 20s or something like that, and I came and I stayed with Lefty 2 different times, but one time I was there with him at the Little House, they had a little place they called the Little House that where he wrote, and his buddies would come over all the time and so forth and on. But I was with him for about 11 months. And I'm telling you what, him and I, he loved to play darts. And we'd play darts quite a bit, you know. And I remember at the Little House, we started playing with darts, and it ended up, we got into playing with machetes. And they were in the front of the little room in the front, this one wall, it went into the utility room. And we played until it just destroyed the wall. And I remember Alice, every once in a while she'd come by, and she came by and she said, of course we all called him Sonny, and she said, "Sonny, what have you done?" And she had some construction people come in and replace the wall. And when we was over at the big house, we would play darts, but this would be fun. We'd play for a little while, and we always had our fishing pole, because he was on the lake, we had our rods and fishing poles in the back there. And somebody would go down and fish, you know, and everything. If somebody caught a fish, the whole house went out. They all went, but only for about 5 minutes, and then back up we came, back to darts again.
I tell you the thing that he was always showing me something, or teaching me something without even actually teaching me. He was teaching me. And I worked with him, when I was 16 years old. I joined him for four years. I was with him day and night for 4 years, all over. We toured all over Texas, all over Oklahoma. In Texas, there was a bar about every block.
Yes.
And he was booked in every one of them at one time or another. But I tell you what, during those days, this is one thing that really sticks with me, is that during the touring season, which is like March through October or March through November, we would be doing maybe a Friday and Saturday someplace, but almost every Sunday there was these big package shows. They don't do them anymore, do they? I used to do some
like they used to, yeah.
Back in those days, it was these big package shows. There'd be 12, 15, maybe 20 different people, different artists on these shows.
Okay.
And I got a chance at a very early age to meet Johnny Cash, who became one of my heroes, and still is, as a matter of fact. I love Johnny Cash. And, George Jones, I got a chance to meet George all those times. But everybody was on those tours one way or another at some time or another. And I got a chance, because I was on the show because Lefty was on the show. I got out there, I'd do 2 songs, and I'd bring him on, and I'd stay out there with him and play. But other people would be on those shows. I got a chance to watch them. I got a chance to hang out with them in the dressing rooms. I got a chance to maybe travel from one show to the other. I got to know all these people, and all these years, I've known all these great people. Jeannie Seeley is one of the absolute greatest people I know. She just is. And I remember one time at the house, and we just got in off of the road, and we was living just out of the LA area. And it was about 10 o'clock one morning, and I was sitting in the den around that famous pool table, and I was sitting around the den. I was sitting there with a guitar, and I was playing about 10 o'clock one morning, and all of a sudden I realized that he was standing there, and I looked up at him. He said, "David," he said, "No," he said, "you're out there with all those great people, watching their shows and watching your show." He said, "It's great." He said, "Learn everything you can, man." He said, "Learn everything everybody's doing, learn it all." He said, "But at the end of the day, we need a David Frizzell. We don't need another Johnny Cash. Johnny's doing very well with that," he said. He said, "And we don't need another Lefty." He said, "Matter of fact, I'm having trouble with him myself." He said, "So we need a Lefty." And then he told me this one time. He said, Oh, I got to tell you, I got to finish that story. I know that he walked on into the kitchen, right?
Uh-huh.
He was in there. He got something out of the house, still picking on the guitar a little bit. I don't know what I was playing, but he came back in on the way back through, going back to the bedroom. He came through and he stopped again and he looked down at me and I looked up at him and he says, "And we don't need another Bob Dylan either." He walked on out. But Lefty told me one thing. I got to tell you this before we leave you, and it's been great to be with you, buddy.
It's been great.
He always told me, he said, "David, there's two things you got to have in this business. That to make it in this business, there's two things you got to have." He said, "Just remember this." He said, "One is a thick skin.
Yeah.
The other is a big ego." And I'll never forget that.
Wow.
And I'll never forget that. He
Incredible.
taught me everything.
Well,
He
I
was
tell
the
you what.
greatest.
Great
He sure
teacher.
was.
Yeah, he was.
Gentlemen, it's been an honor. Thank you
It
so
has
much
been.
for both
Thank
of
you
you.
so much.
Really appreciate you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate you.
God bless.
And come join us again when you can.
Yes.
Look forward
We'll
to
be
it.
back. We ain't through yet.
Yeah. I love to hear that.
All right.
Thanks for
Thank you.
tuning in. David Frizzell, Allan Frizzell on the Nashville Corner. Want to thank you for being here. Happy 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. This next song is a recitation. I love it. When I first heard it, was just amazed by it. The positive cowboy, Jim Sheldon, does a great job. Here he is with that ragged old flag.
I walked through a county courthouse square. On a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "Nah, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your flagpole has leaned a little bit, and that's a ragged old flag you got hanging on." He said, "Have a seat." And I sat down. "Is this the first time you've been to our town?" I said, "I think it is." He said, "I don't like to brag, but I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag." You see, we got a hole in that flag there when Washington took across the Delaware. It got powder burned, and I, Francis Scott Key, sat watching, writing, "Oh, say, can you see?" And it got a bad rip in New Orleans with Packingham and Jackson tugging at its seams. And it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on through. She got cut by a sword at Chancellorsville. She cut a gun in Shallow Hill. There was Robert Lee and Beauregard and Bragg, and the south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. On Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low by the time it was through. She was in Korea and Vietnam. She went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved from our ships upon the briny foam, and now they've about quit wave her here at home. In her own good land, she's been abused, she's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused. And the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. And she's getting threadbare and wearing thin, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in. 'Cause she's been to the fire before, and I believe she could take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning, we take her down at night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we fold her upright. On second thought, I do like to brag, 'cause I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag.
It's the Nashville Corner. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Marty Smith. I hope you've enjoyed the music. We've got more for you. Here's Justin Terry.
George and Tom and Ben are probably rolling in their graves, watching what's been going on round here. Betsy Ross is tongue-tied She don't know what to say. I bet old Francis Key is shedding tears. How can we have let this happen to our grand old girl? Standing by and watching as she's trampled on and burned. She's the flag, she's Old Glory, she's the Star-Spangled Banner. The stars and stripes forever, never let her die. Hold her high, let her paint the sky, wave the flag. All she ever wanted was to ride upon the wind above the greatest nation of them all. Some poor excuse for freedom came and tried to make her bend, but some of us refused to let her fall. So pick her up and dust her off and put her on display, and show the world just what it means, the American way. She's the flag, she's Old Glory, she's a Star-Spangled Banner. The stars and stripes forever, never let her die. Hold her high, let her paint the sky, wave the flag. She loves the view from July porches all across this land. She loves it when they walk her in and everybody stands. She's the flag, she's Old Glory, she's a Star-Spangled Banner. The stars and stripes forever, never let her die. Hold her high, let her paint the sky. Hold her high, let her paint the sky, wave the flag. Wave the flag.
So here I am on a plane, and I am on a plane not too long ago, and I am walking from the plane, and I realize I have a dress on, and I'm not thinking about it, and the turbulence on the plane was horrific that day. And so I decided, I thought, well, I needed to use the ladies' room. There was a couple sitting next to me. The pilot has already said to me, and to everybody, do not leave your seats, very much turbulence. I need to use the bathroom. So I lean over and I say to the girl, you're going to have to let me out. She goes, didn't you just hear what the... And I said, listen, if you don't let me out of here, it's going to get ugly right here. So she finally lets me out. I have to go all the way in the back. I get into the lavatory. As soon as I'm in the lavatory, the pilot says, boom, all passengers, please report to their seats immediately. And I'm like, oh boy. So I rush down the aisle and I walk the entire aisle with my dress stuck in my underwear. That's right. The whole world, the whole plane saw. You think one person, just one saint would have said, Sue, or, yeah, pardon me, ma'am. No. So I get to my row, and I say to the couple, I say, don't worry, just sit there. I'll crawl over you. So here I go. Excuse me, pardon me. Excuse me, pardon me. And when I sit down, and I finally sit on that blue leather, I realize, yep, I just exposed myself to the whole world. The young girl next to me again says, I was going to say something to you. I don't know what to say. I said, by the time I got to you, it was too late anyway. So my daughter says to me later, she says, good thing you weren't wearing a thong, Mom. I said, hey, the only thong I ever wore was in 1963 when we wore them on our feet at the beach. That's right. So I have a special song just for you today. It's called, What Drawers Should I Wear Today? You ready? All right, these are musicians right here. They're the best in Nashville. And let me tell you something. All you have to do, you don't have to get the musicians to show up. Pay them. That's right. What drawers should I wear today? Oh, what drawers should I wear today? Should I wear my granny panties or should I wear a thong? What drawers should I wear today? Oh, should I wear my granny panties or should I wear a thong? Should I wear my granny panties or should I wear a thong? Should I wear my granny panties or should I wear a thong? Drawers should I wear today? I love these guys. See you next time.
Shots rang out again today. Another time zone, another state. In disbelief I cried as I cried out to God for all of those right there just trying to get away. Close to home, way too close to home. A piece of peace got taken away from a place once safe to go. Close to home, way too close to home. This has gone way too far. Close to home. Sadly, this takes me back to the day where and when our world was forever changed. As those twin towers tumbled to the ground, prayers around the world were heard for those we lost that day. Close to home, way too close to home. A piece of peace got taken away from a place once safe to go. Close to home, way too close to home. This has gone way too far. Close to home. There's no excuse for this abuse, regardless of religion or race. Lord knows it starts right here between you and me. It's time we stop this hate. Close to home, way too close to home. So much peace got taken away from places once safe to go. Close to home, way too close to home. This has gone way too far. Close to home. This has gone far enough. Close to home. Shots rang out again today. Another time zone, another state.
Mike Leichner, thanks so much for being here. And just
It's
an
a
honor to have you.
pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so happy birthday, America.
Happy
And,
birthday, America, 4th of July.
Yeah, I love your songs. And, you know, I was talking earlier when I introduced you, when my dad had passed, he was in the Korean War and Vietnam War.
Yes.
And he had all these medals.
Yes.
But he never talked about it. And so when he died, my brother went in and he said, Marty, you would not believe what Dad did. But he never said a word. And he loved his country. And I'm so thankful that, you know, he fought for this country. And again, for our veterans and current military,
Yes.
thank you for your service.
Yes.
Truly, you are American heroes, and we thank you.
Well, that's why I write the songs I write about we're American proud. God only knows what the cost that was paid that we might enjoy this freedom.
Yeah.
And if we don't get a hold of this generation and teach them the honor that our forefathers, our fathers taught us about this nation, we won't have a nation.
Yeah.
And but many of those veterans like your dad and those that I've had the privilege when I do veterans concerts and the honor flight concerts I do in the airports. I get to meet all these veterans, these old, I mean, you know, Korean War and World War II.
Yeah.
And they're far and in between now. But then all the Vietnam veterans that fought so hard, in which that was my era. I was in the last part of Vietnam. Had my orders in '73, but on my way to Vietnam, they turned us around, sent us back, and Nixon had bombed and pulled us out of Vietnam. But I went to fight for my country because I believe in it. But the fact of the matter is, many of those old boys have told me they felt guilt, and they were heroes. They had medals, but maybe like your father, didn't want to talk about it because some of them carried guilt because the Bible says in Matthew 26 that those that live by the sword die by the sword, and sometimes people take that out of context. That simply means that when you go to war, you could die.
Yeah.
Because you put your life on the line. But they forget Matthew chapter 5 that said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And so when I tell them that in council, and you know, you see a look come across their face. I had the honor to do that with many veterans on Memorial Day next to the wall in Wichita, Kansas. We have a big war wall.
Yeah.
And got to speak to them. And many of them come up and said, thank you for that, because I felt that all my life. I felt like maybe I did something wrong, but they were asked to fight for the country. They did what they said. And the Bible says there's a time for war.
Yeah, there is.
And so we so appreciate all of the veterans and all those that fought for our nation. And that's a great part of my ministry, going on these bases, singing to the military, and continually thinking about songs that would help lift them and help them understand exactly who they are and how much we think about them.
Now, the song We're American Proud, the first lines of it talks about a 17-year-old. That's you, isn't it?
That's me.
That's you.
That's me. Yeah, I joined. Actually, I was kind of well, I got with the wrong crowd in high school, to say it that way. And I wasn't walking with the Lord.
Mike's in trouble again.
Yeah, and my dad, I dropped out of school. My dad said, either you're going back to school or you're going to go to the Marines. So his brother had been a Marine, and he knew that what his brother went through, and he thought that might snap me in line. Well, he was right. I signed up for the Marines. My dad co-signed for me. When I got on those yellow footprints and that bulldog drill instructor was in my face, I thought, Dad got even with me, boy.
Well, we thank you for all you do. Your songs are just amazing.
Well,
and,
thank you.
I just love the message of it and just the passion behind it as well.
Yes. Don't Bring the Country Out in Me was written by Lawrence Bishop, Jr., and he had written it as Don't Bring the Cowboy Out in Me.
Oh, okay.
And he wasn't doing up the song, and Tim McGraw had turned it down. And I said, if you let me change it a little bit, I'm not a cowboy, but I'm a country boy. And the USA country boy.
Yeah.
And so I changed those words and released that, and it went right to the top of the charts, and it was amazing. Because people love this nation, and they've got grandfathers that gave their life, and fathers and mothers and aunts, and sisters that gave their life for this nation, and are maimed. And you can go into the veteran hospital, and you can see a sign that says, the cost of freedom is visible here.
Wow, that is powerful.
Yes, and so that's what we celebrate on the 4th of July. Also, that our independence and those that has given us our freedom.
So true. So you have a disc that has all of these songs on here.
Yes.
Specifically, your patriotic songs.
American Made album.
American Made.
Yeah.
Great CD.
Yeah,
Tell us where to get it.
Yeah, MikeLeichner.com, Leichner, MikeLeichner.com.
Well, I thank you for your service.
Well, you're more than welcome.
I can't thank you enough.
And I like your shirt.
Well, thank you.
I'm not ashamed of that flag. Yeah. How about you?
No, not at all. My wife saw this. My wife is my fashion designer. And so when we talked about doing the patriotic show, she goes, that's the shirt you need.
There you go.
And I trust her judgment.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, MikeLeichner.com. And thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome.
God bless you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. God bless you. Happy birthday, America.
Happy birthday.
I was listening to a politician talk about the American dream. He said some of our Constitution we no longer need. Some of these amendments long gone out of style. Said a whole lot of things to make me mad, like an alligator with a smile. I like minding my own business, but I had all I could stand. I thought about how my grandpa died in this country in a foreign land. My mouth was like a shotgun, my words were full of lead. You could have heard a pin drop when I stood up and said, it ain't nice to hit a lady off you run this country down. You better be out in Hollywood where country boys ain't around. We believe in the 10 Commandments and the guns that kept us free. You know what's good for you? Don't bring the country out in me. Now the winds of change are blowing. Some say we're on shaky ground. We gotta stand and fight for freedom that our fathers found. So if you burn the flag, take away our right to pray, we'll go down swinging with freedom ringing. We'll stand up and say, it ain't nice to hit a lady off you run this country down. You better be out in Hollywood where country boys ain't around. We believe in the 10 Commandments and the guns that kept us free. You know what's good for you? Don't bring the country out in me. This political correction has done got out of hand. It ain't nice to hit a lady off you run this country down. You better be out in Hollywood where country boys ain't around. We believe in the 10 Commandments and the guns that kept us free. You know what's good for you? Don't bring the country out in me. If you know what's good for you, son, don't walk on the fighting side of me.